Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Zoom edition of the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self-love, self-care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today we are joined by a special guest, Miss Bobbie Watkins. I'm Lady Bounce.
And I am a slate.
All right, so Miss Bobbie, Miss Bobbie, some of everything. Let me see. Some of your titles include speaker, author, publisher, life coach, mentor, teacher, mother, sister, aunt, community servant. What did I miss?
I often forget myself.
So
it's
you've
so
done
much more.
I know, I try not to get caught up in titles, but we want to make sure we give you your due credit for all the things that you do and all the things that you are. So yeah, I'm like, I don't want to miss nothing.
Yes, but it's fine because I just go with the flow. I've learned to just fit in with whatever God has for me and whatever I'm supposed to do at the time period is whatever it is. So that's it. It's just a multitasker and just a person that just is consistently trying to be obedient. So whatever title goes with being obedient, just add that to it.
I like that. Okay, so you took a big leap of faith and you quit your job and started your own business, which is phenomenal in itself because I've never been able to step out on that kind of faith and just be like, I'm going to do this and whatever happens, I know God's got me. I just don't have it. So you quit your job to become your own boss. How did you know that your idea was a good idea?
And you want the truth, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I did not know it was a good idea. At the time period, it was the guidance I got from God. And having that revelation, I still was operating out of a little bit of fear. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't sure. But I was at a place of you're either going to be obedient or you're going to keep struggling. So I was like, okay, being uncomfortable, but I always prefer being operating in discomfort, but not in forever discomfort, meaning that I knew that he's going to support me through the process. So I would be okay, but I just didn't want to be stagnant. So I just said, hey, this is where I am right now. I have the skill set and I have enough experience on building businesses. So why not use that at this particular time? Because that's all I knew to do at the time period. And it just flew. I mean, went with the flow. And here I am now, almost 3 years later, and just diving into a whole nother business.
Okay, so tell us about your first business, and then tell us about your second business that you just started, because girl.
Okay, I know. So Obedience is a professional business consulting company. We offer professional business coaching. We offer professional development training. We offer just a lot of different things to help people start their business or grow their business or develop their business. And then we also have the component where we offer trainings to educators, early childhood educators. So we can take anywhere from someone from starting their business and helping them just lay out all the floor plans from the foundation to the LLC to developing their agreements and their contracts, and just seeing exactly where they are so that we can help them get to where they need to be or their goals. And that's the first piece. The second piece is we actually offer personal development, because we realize that a lot of people that have businesses, their struggle is not on developing their business. Their struggle is personal issues. So we take business people and we just work on redesigning them. Where you are right now, what are some of your barriers? What are some of your personal issues? What are some of your issues as it relates to emotions, and things like that? Because we realize it's not how they show up professional. It's more of how they deal with and manage their life that keeps them from being their best in their professional atmosphere. So those are the main two components. And then a year after, we added the training, because again, I have the education degree, have the education experience. So I wanted to take the same process and take it into the educational environment. And it's the same thing. The 2 trainings that we offer, well, the 3 deals with how you show up every single day at home, and how you show up every single day at work, and then how you show up every single day in the community. And then we just kind of surrounded around professionalism, best practice, and effective communication. But it still boils down to who you are and your personal challenges and overcoming that, and then being your best in the work environment.
Wow. that's a lot. Like,
it's fun though. It's really fun.
I got a question. Speaking of like the personal challenges you was talking about that people face and the things they go through, you have a t-shirt line, but she didn't quit them, right?
Damn, my baby. That's my baby.
Is that a part of the reason why you chose that scripture, Philippians 4:13, or why did you choose that particular scripture?
Well, it went hand in hand with the actual name of the company, which a lot of people don't know, Obedience. When I made the shift, like I said, I was at a place of what do I do next? Or where am I supposed to be? And at that particular point, I was just at like, God, okay, what do I do? How am I to best show up and be obedient? And at the time I came up with the name, but I didn't know how I was going to move forward, or I didn't know the outcome, or I didn't know if I was going to be successful. And I had these kids and, they like to eat. So I had to get to a place of whatever it looks like, you can't quit, whatever the outcome is, you can't quit. Right. So somebody had sent me this message and they was like, don't quit. And I was like, hold on, and then I just flew with it. And I was like, I know on my own strength, I'm going to quit. On my own strength, I quit every day now. Like every day I'm like, yep, I'm done. Can't deal with it. But I know that I no longer can operate on my own strength. Like I operated on my own strength years ago, for many years. And I just said, I have to continue to operate on the strength of God. And that's where I connected. But she didn't quit though. But it ain't even me. But she didn't quit because I'm operating as much as possible through the strength of God.
Okay. Love it, love it, love it.
Right. I know, I was like, I'm mesmerized. So, as you mentioned that, you do have children. How did your children receive you quitting your job? Because kids are like, wait a minute. Mommy's the sole breadwinner. Mommy's
about to be broke.
Job. Yeah, like we about to be broke. We gonna be poor. We gonna be eating government cheese. Like, how did they receive you starting this new venture?
Well, years ago, I had my school tutoring program. I had so many other programs. So even with the school before operating in the new business, they've always seen me as an entrepreneur. So it's something that they consistently see. And even now, it's like they don't know any different. They have always seen me in positions of leadership or kind of sort of being my own boss. So I don't think it was anything major to them other than knowing that it was a different job. Because I always take them with me. And even now, they see me constantly working there along with me. So for them, it wasn't a real major shift from them other than, okay, you're not working with students anymore. Now you're working with adults, okay, that was it. And it's different scenery and more working from home. That was the only adjustment they really had to make. But for the most part, it was just still mommy's the boss.
Mommy's a boss. I like it. I want to be a boss.
You said you take your children with you. So how do you, do you have a team of people you work with, or how do you build a strong team? Or do you just do everything with you, God, and your kids?
For now, I have some of my family members that will attend with me and help me out. But for the most part, it's me and the kids. I'm really very, very selective because this is not just my passion, it's operating through my gift. So, and a lot of the curriculum is I created myself from scratch. So I'm really, really selective on putting my curriculum into the hands of somebody else. So as far as actually doing what I do, I don't have a team to actually do that. I have people that come and maybe help me set up, maybe video and stuff like that. But when it comes to actually relaying and communicating and working with people hands-on, I don't have that team yet. I just haven't went there yet. The team I do have is in the next business, is in the other business, which is it's a little bit different, and I'll go into details on that. But I'm not at a place where I feel comfortable enough to place my curriculum in somebody else's hand and allow them to teach it the way I teach it.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
You should start that curriculum.
Right. I like that. It's like, giving away your baby and you just
Yeah.
and that's fine. That's good. I think that's great. So can you give us some tips on how you deal with the adversities that come with, being a business owner, an entrepreneur, because you got to deal with a lot of people, you got to deal with a lot of moving pieces, if you will. How do you deal with those ups and downs?
Well, I know that God dealt with me first before I could do that, because he prepares us for everything. There's strategic planning way before we even know what we're gonna do. He already knows. So with me falling and bumping my head and bruising, all the failures that I've had just in life in general, it kind of prepared me to not be so much judgmental. So I'm human. So being human, some things hurt, or some things get frustrating, and some things are very annoying. But I've learned to try not to react and eat out of emotion, and to remember that this is there's purpose in it. So I do a lot of self-control. I do a lot of praying, a lot of meditating, a lot of reading and studying, different scriptures and sermons. Even before I go do training, before every training, my kids know I'm listening to a certain sermon, because I don't want to, even though my curriculum is the same, but the people that are in front of me are different. So I always am able to connect to my audience, even with the same curriculum, but reach them a different way. So I just, like I said, the main thing is I do a lot of praying, because I realize that this is not just a job. It serves a purpose. And people may not know that it's a ministry because of how it's coded, even the education piece. It's coded because it's education, it's Ohio approved. But when you have a relationship with God personally, and you come into the atmosphere and you operate through your purpose and your gift and your ministry, people don't know unless they have that connection. But I still operate from that place, and I know I have to deal with people accordingly, or I'll be dealt with accordingly. So it does get frustrating, but I said I completely sit back, I reevaluate the situation, and because a lot of what I train and what I teach, I'm talking to them about their emotions. So my thing is, you have to, at this point, practice what you preach, even in the midst of dealing with people, because for years, and I know myself and the way, other people around me, it's always, I can give advice, but I can't take it. So I had to get rid of that out of my mindset, that you can no longer do that. Like, you have to be an example. So even in the midst of adversity and things like that, I have to catch myself very often and say, hey, you can't be telling these people to do it this way and handle this conflict this way, and you're avoiding it, or you're mishandling people. So it's a constant learning experience, and I'm constantly checking myself, or self-reflection, making sure if I do handle it wrong or improper, that I do correct myself.
That's good. That's good. That's really good. She being a reflection of that light, especially if she says she's doing it out of obedience, and she's saying she's relying on the Most High God for strength. If you go out there and do it another way that's fake, you can get somebody to turn away from God even in that. Like, I'm not about to trust God or her. Like, she just messed me up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's real good there. Let's see. I remember we did something before, didn't we? And we talked about it. I never got to talk to her daughter about that. Your daughter also has a no bullying campaign, doesn't she?
Yes.
She might work into her own line of business too. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, we canceled it the year before, but we had it this year. Well, not this year, last year. And it's basically, she's dealt with bullying for years, year after year. And being a mom, we sometimes go into extra mom mode. So I had to realize that I had to protect her a different way by building up her confidence. And because it got to a point where I got, we protect our seed. So I had to get to a point where I started teaching her to protect herself, because she would go to a place where she wouldn't tell me, because she knows that Mama Bear, come up there. I go to the bus stop, and it's a whole different ball game. So I had to think of, how do I best do this so that she's not continuing to even allow, the situation to get as bad as it is. So, of course, everybody goes through challenges for a reason. And when you go through something, I believe that it's for you to learn a lesson, but it's also for you to teach other people. So I told her, let's start an anti-bullying, program workshop. And basically what we did, we had a workshop. We invited people from the church and the community, and we just talked about bullying. We had different fun activities. They did like playwriting. They also came up with their own personal business. So they divided into groups, boys and girls, and they came up with their own laws and rules and activities. It was really fun, but it was where kids were able to examine how they sometimes can fit into that bracket of being bullied and see how it feels to be on the other side of how easily you can make someone feel that bad about themselves without even knowing. So it was fun. We also had moms or guardians involved as well. So they were there to participate and engage, because sometimes we don't notice where, we're kind of adding to it or not helping as we should or overlooking it. So it was great to have the involvement all together, and she's going to do it again this year as long as we're out of, coronavirus. Yeah. But we try to make it real simple, though. Real simple, but impactful.
Another reason that stood out to me was because it takes your teaching and your leadership to another level. So it shows that not only am I able to teach adults and my peers to be leaders and run their own business, you're also teaching young people, because that puts your daughter in a place of leadership and running her own business too. So
yes.
So yeah.
So I like it.
Signed up, okay?
Yes. Right. Yes.
I want to own a business too, but I don't know what I'm doing. So
yeah, maybe. I gotta go see. I told her I was gonna come and see her soon, because I gotta get some loose ends tied.
Right.
Well, she's definitely doing it again this year, because we really enjoyed ourselves.
That's exciting, and that's my boo. So when you were telling me that there was a boy at school that was messing with her, I like flew into like auntie mode for real. Like, wait, who we going to fight? Like, wait a minute, do I need to come through? Like, I ain't a teacher all the time.
Right.
Pop up, guess who?
Right. Pop up, guess who? Like, not my Naya boo. That's my girl. But I'm glad to see that she's overcoming it, and then helping other kids to be able to get through it and overcome it. Because sometimes as parents, we don't give the wrong answer, but we give the wrong answer. You know.
Popping up, we can give the wrong answer. We come in with a different mentality and showing a wrong way to handle.
Right. Because my daughter's a teenager, and she'll bring stuff to me that happens at school, and I have to like remind myself to be that 16-year-old girl, because in mommy mode, in adult mode, I'm like, well, who cares? In 2 years, you ain't gonna know who they are anyway. But in her world, this is monumental. It is the only thing. It's the biggest thing. And so it is hard to toggle that line sometimes to be her friend mommy and not just mommy. So I think what Naya is doing is just amazing, because it will be better received, I think, coming from her peer to peer than it is sometimes adult to kid, because deep down we are still adults and they know it. So yeah, I think that's amazing. Naya.
Thank you.
Go Naya.
Right, go Naya.
I heard a lot of her self-care in there too, when she was talking about, okay, I meditate, I pray, I listen to read these scriptures. I'm like, come through. She is getting her self-care.
When I say I have to, because everybody, just because you decide to grow doesn't mean everybody's gonna grow with you. And I think sometimes we have that expectation and we get frustrated. We're like, hey, but then I have to, check myself, like, wait a minute, somebody was wanting you to grow too when you didn't want to. So you can't expect people to do that, but in order to manage, because we feel how we feel. Right. So in order to proper manage that, you have to stay filled with the word, and disappointments will come. People will disappoint you. In order to just deal with them properly without getting yourself in some trouble, you have to take care of that inner peace.
Yeah.
See, you sound like this. You sound just like a leader. You sound like a businesswoman.
Don't she?
I mean, it's how you
Thank
handle
you.
everything in everyday life. Like, this is good.
Yeah, thank you.
Like it's one of those things that you're born into it, and now you're walking into it. Because
Right.
I worked with your dad for a number of years, at a school, and he would tell me every day, "You need to be the principal. You need to be in charge." And I'm like, "Look here, Mr. Watkins. What I don't want to be is in charge.
Yep.
Like, I'm cool just being a para." And he was like, "Nah, you would be a good teacher." And I'm like, "No, I'm cool being the assistant." He's like, no, I think you wasting yourself. So then I became a teacher. And then when I became a teacher, he's like, "So when you going to get that principal's license?" I'm like, "Look here, sir. What you're not going to do is bully me into leadership."
Yep.
I received that. I received that for you. Thanks, Mr. Watkins.
Yes.
She needs to do that. She needs to do that.
Yes. And that's that. He was calling it to, and you just got to knock yourself out and do it. Because if you don't, to me, it's like, will you ever be satisfied? Will you ever be satisfied? And it's almost about risk taking. I think the one problem that we often have, because I was speaking to a principal before, and I said the same thing here. I was like, "Man, you would be a good superintendent." And what he said was that he was like, "I would never do it because of what's required and the accountability. And then once you do it, it takes the screen off of you. And people put you on a pedestal." But I was like, but why do we allow things like that to hold us back from doing what we were created to do? Like, if you sing, you just got to do it. You're never going to be satisfied. It's almost like that itch you can't reach, and you just steady, scratching, but you can't reach it. And that's how it is with me. Because sometimes I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. I am not up for this.
Right.
But then I know how it feels, and I know how the fire feels and the passion feels. So it's like, I don't have a choice. Whether I'm crying, crawling, or whatever. Some moments, God just like, hey, just go for it,
Right.
And it doesn't feel comfortable all the time. But when I get to where I desire, it's like, I would have been so frustrated with myself if I had not done it this way.
Yeah.
You got to go for it.
I know. I hear you, and it's so funny listening to you talk, because you're saying almost verbatim what he said to me for like 2 years straight. So it is. I'm smiling because I'm like, I hear his voice coming through you. Like, stop playing.
My dad.
Yes.
Everybody said you should meet my mom. My mom. I probably sound like the most because she's been in, and I don't know if you guys ever met her, but she's been in.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the combination. I think I have the best of both of them. And which sometimes is frustrating because people expect me to show up, and I'm like, but I'm me. I'm Bobbie. Like, I can't, but they expect me to be, a certain way, which I tell other people, I'm like the ratchet version of the professional side of my mom. But and just using that language, but not ratchet, but just like, she wears a suit, and I don't. I prefer not to wear a suit. I prefer to just show up as me because I feel like my voice is, do enough versus I don't have to wear the same appearance, which of course she would prefer me to wear the suit like her.
Right.
So I just feel like I'm the best version of both of them together combined.
All right. So we got a couple minutes left. So Miss Slate, you want to hit us with our self-care assignment, our mindfulness minute for this week?
We done had all this self-care talking.
I know, right? I feel like, we should just go sit at Bobbie's feet for the self-care assignment. Like, that's your assignment this week.
So it's good that we were right where we was at, because I don't know what Miss Lady Mouse gonna do, but everything she do, you'll see me on Facebook, like, I love you, sister. I hope she steps into whatever her calling is. We know teaching is a part of it. Bobbie, I just love you.
Thank you.
So our self-care assignment for the week is finding your purpose, okay?
Okay.
People who work to find meaning and purpose and who live their lives making decisions and choices based on their purpose are the people with the healthiest self-esteem. Finding your purpose is best explained by Parker Palmer as finding the thing that you cannot not do. That statement may sound somewhat abstract, but it means that you have found the talent, the passion, the miracle inside you, and the miracle inside of you that must come out. It is sometimes described as your calling. Living purposefully means that you have found your calling, your passion, and all of your efforts, desires, goals, and actions are directed by this purpose. Our self-care assignment for this week is find your purpose. I'm gonna be finding my pen and paper and write some poems for the next 3 years. Huh?
I like it.
And our mindfulness minute for this week is no more delays. This is right on point. Bobbie was saying this stuff, like what we waiting for.
Right.
No more delays. Willa Cather said, there are some things you learn best in calm and some in storm. Much effort in life goes wasted because we wait for the perfect conditions to act. We want plenty of free time, a big budget, support from others, and so forth before we will even begin a small project. Of course, the perfect timing, the perfect circumstances never come, and we end up settling for less, delaying our plans indefinitely. This evening, you may find yourself full of regret that your heart's desires never seem to come true. Think of one concrete step that you can take this evening to take you towards your goal. Can you work for 5 minutes on your book, paint or draw for 10 minutes, go for a walk around the block? Do anything that might take you closer to your goals. Your mind feels restless because you hold back from living in the way that you think you should. Even the smallest effort will help to put your mind at ease and take you down the right path in life. So our mindfulness minute this week is ease on down the road.
Yeah, that's good.
Ease on down the road and don't take no more delays. And next we have the gift for the week hour. Brain science.
All right, so this week our brain science is why your brain loves not having a boss. So scientific fact, your brain functions best when it is allowed to be creative and grow organically, not when someone is standing over you, giving you task after task to do, because then that becomes muscle memory that your brain does not like. Boom. So internally, your motivation is heightened when you don't have a boss, when you are your own boss, which of course that is good. And it releases all of those feel good hormones, because when you accomplish something in your business, then your brain says, hey, we're going to give you some of these feel good, hormones and make you feel better. I like it. I love it. So, and finally, your brain, the way your brain functions, it does need to grow. It needs creativity, freedom, and relaxation. And when you are your own boss, you are free to make yourself the number one member of your team.
Okay.
Which is best for your brain. Look at that.
Give us free.
Give us free. So your brain doesn't want to be controlled. We're going to find our purpose this week, right? We're going to be creative.
Yes, and don't waste no time. Get to it. We got a lot of time to be thinking about what we want to do during this quarantine. We got a lot of time to work on what we could be doing, and we can be doing our own business stuff at this time.
I like it. So, Miss Bobbie, we thank you, and we know we could find you on Facebook. I know you're on Instagram, and your clothing line is But She Didn't Quit, though. So if y'all out there in Facebook land, look her up. Her name is her name. No gimmicks. Real name, no gimmicks.
Yes.
So support her business ventures, and just support a woman doing her thing, like your thing, girl.
Thing.
Thank you so much.
So we thank you for being with us. And as always, you can find us on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, Instagram, and wherever you get your favorite podcast. I'm Lady Bounce.
I am Ace Slay.
And we out.
We out of here.